Okay, everybody. Welcome to Avenue's first September webinar, I believe, H5P Writing Tools. So over the summer, I saw that H5P added some additional tools to their war chest. And then I decided, like on my own time, to putter around and see what was up. And some of the things I found were interesting and some were disappointing. So instead of what I was going to do, I already told you that we were only going to do 3 items. I think we're going to go to do 5. We're going to try 5 today. And I think it's useful because there are 2 that are kind of really tantalizing, but I have to tell you what the issues are. And so you can go ahead on your own based on what you know. So I'm hoping that you self-enrolled into John's Sandbox course. So today we're going to go through these H5P tools. The first one is called Sort the Paragraphs, which is a soft one. The second one is Dictation. The third is Documentation. The fourth is Structure Strips. And the fifth is Cornell Notes. Okay, so just realize that I'm just talking about these tools discreetly. I'm not talking about applying them in your classroom or setting up design to put them in some sort of sequence. I was kind of disappointed to see that a lot of them are not allowed, are not in the course presentation tool or the interactive book tool, but that will be coming. Okay, so I'm going to launch a poll here, and I just want to get an idea of your knowledge or your experience with H5P before I go ahead. So we have 1 expert. We have a lot of dabblers, so I'm hoping dabblers are in stage 3 and stage 4 of the training, but that's great that it makes sense that you are here, the expert and the dabbling developers are here because you want to go to the next level. A distant observer is a great thing to be as well, because you can get a bigger picture of what's going on, and then maybe you might ignore it in the future or you might embrace it. And if you're a newbie, I go to all sorts of webinars on topics I don't know anything about, or tools I don't know about, so I can relate to that. All right, so here we go on this wonderful journey. So I think that you would notice now that when I hit a lot of the things today on this course, John's Sandbox, but if you can kind of see here, I'm hoping you can see this. So every time I do a webinar, like a Tutela webinar or an Avenue webinar, what I do is I just put up all of my notes and my examples, and you're welcome to stay on this for about 6 months. And you can, if you want, download the H5P examples and twist them and turn them and make them your own. So this is today's stuff. And today I just hid the rest of the stuff so it wouldn't be a distraction. So I did the interactive book webinar recently with Tutela. That was fun. And then I did a whole thing on accessibility with BC Teal, the H5P quiz and the H5P flashcard quiz, and then the H5P tools. I think this is just useful for you if you want to come back later on and download an example and tear it apart, or just get the help documents. The help documents are also always published on Avenue itself. Okay, so are there any questions at this point before we start moving ahead? No? Okay, that is awesome. All right. So the first tool is Sort the Paragraphs. And as you can see right now, all of you can go in there and try these out, the Sort the Paragraphs. I invite you now to go through this, at least 1 or 2 on your own. I would like you to first try the Sort the Letters and then any of the others you wish. So I'll give you about 3 full minutes to do this. And if you are here and you don't have access to this, I will just go through these. Not all of them, a few of them. So Sort the Letters is a low-level example. Letters are jumbled here. The students would listen to something like, and A, B, C, D, E, F. So the student would, I hope, know to start at the top and sort downwards. And then they would, because I've been using H5P a bit, they would click on check and they would get their results. Here, I've allowed them to have retry and to show the solution. So they can retry again and go ahead.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Okay, so that's the first one. That's a low-level example. The extreme here would be the, actually the audio one is better, but I'm going to go down to the video example myself right now. And so here I put in a YouTube video. So the students would watch the YouTube video.
Hello, my name is Lara. Today I'm going to be showing you how to change a light bulb.
Okay, so you can put a video here, and then the students would be challenged to sort the paragraphs here or sort the steps. So they can use these chevrons here, or they can just drag up and down. And I think if they're on a mobile device, they'll be using the drag and drop method with their finger. And so I've got this wrong, but you know, you can show the solution to the students. Okay, so sort the paragraphs is quite simple. And the how-to document is right here, so you can get this at any time. Pardon me. No. So the documents look similar to all of the Avenue documents here. If you're a new, sort the paragraph, it allows you to sort paragraphs. You can do whatever you want. If you want to go to the H5P website and see how their take on sort the paragraphs, you can click here. Here we have, if you're brand new to H5P, which most of us aren't, this document here will show you how the basics of H5P and Avenue. So on the create a short paragraphs activity, you have to, well, I go to the content bank and then I add a sort the paragraphs H5P. Inside of the H5P for sort the paragraphs, you can add media. The media can be an image, it can be audio, or it can be a video. And here I just remind everybody that you should be putting in information on the original author, the person who made the media itself. So when you go in, you should be typing in task description for the students. And then every single step or paragraph or word or letter or phrase goes into its own paragraph. So you just type in the paragraphs in order. And every single time you do that, you just have to click on add a paragraph. Really, really, really simple. This is the simplest one. Okay, and then in this one here, I added an image. Here are the instructions, and it randomizes the choices for you. So when the student goes to it, it's never the same, right? Orders are, even when they do the retry, the order is never the same. So this is quite simple. You can make gigantic paragraphs as well if you want. But I think with mobile devices nowadays, that's really not going to be the greatest. So here, this shows you how to add a video to this, add an audio clip. And the audio would appear like this one. I'm sure some of you have seen this one here. And basically, that's the how-to for sorting a paragraph. Are there any questions about this? Okay, so the next one is called the dictation tool. So I've made a bunch of examples here. And essentially, this is really listening, but they're writing down what they hear. So it's kind of a hybrid activity. So now if you hit refresh on your browser, you should be able to see these guys here. Elaine, interactive video with sort the paragraphs? No, I don't think it's possible yet. Remember, these tools are relatively new and they haven't been integrated yet. Okay, so the dictation tool itself, I'd like to invite you to look based on your level. If you want to have dictation by letter, by words, sentences, or paragraph. If you don't have this, you should probably mute me for a minute.
That I had a 1 o'clock thing. Oh.
I'm going to, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to hit the sentences. So I'm going to do dictation tool, example, sentences. This is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. The cool thing is that you can set a normal speed and a slow speed. You can even have a fast speed and a normal speed. It's up to you. You have two options here. So you have the title of the activity, then you have the instructions for the students, and here you hear the sentence normally.
There are 5 people on the bus.
And then here, hopefully this is slow.
There are 5 people on the bus.
Okay, so the student would type in okay, and if I did all of them and checked, I got 7 out of 28. You can do a lot of refining with the grading here, depending on what your purpose is here. And also here, if you want to have the digit 5, you can put the pipe character. It just looks like a vertical line and a digit 5. So either or would be accepted. The slow version, you don't disable it, you just don't make it. Okay, so Valerie, you just don't make the slow version. Okay, that's just like a luxury, that kind of thing for folks. Okay, so for letters, it's hard to make a slow letter. So here you see here.
B. P. D.
Oh. I gotta retry that.
B. P. D.
I got it. Okay, so you can see now that, oh, okay, well, the voice. So the voice is going to be you. It doesn't automatically have an auto-generator voice. So this is the tool I use here. I use ttsmp3.com. So essentially what you do is you just put in a word like Canada, you choose one of your voices. You can get this for free. So I could just type in, say, Matthew, choose Matthew, and then
Canada.
And if I want to do, there's these scripts down here. So if I want to make it slower, I can add some markup. The tool is called ttsmp3.com. You can find other ones out there, but that's how I auto-generate them. When I click on, when I'm happy with this, I click on download, and what happens is I just put that file in H5P. Or you can do it yourself. Most teachers prefer to have their own voice when they record for the dictation tool. It's, if you do anything with H5P, which most of you are, it's adding audio is the same. It's just that here you add a normal or a fast and a slow, if you wish. You add the text, and as I said, the pipe character here allows you to have multiple versions of the answer. You can have how many attempts at the high speed and the low speed. You can have things shuffle. It's up to you. And you can add a video to it, an image or audio to go with the activity, which is a really nice thing. Okay, so the documentation tool, I'm going to give you the complex one first, and then I'll give you the easier one second, because it depends on what level you're working with. And so created one here, the first one, you can go through this yourself if you wish. What it is, basically, it's a way to structure students' writing through either some sort of process or a project or something that you want them to have. And at the end, you can use an export tool to have them export it out and then submit a Word document to you. It's a very nice tool. And this works in the interactive book, the H5P interactive book. So I've seen a lot of really good ones at colleges and universities where they have a lot of information coming in, some interactivity, and then at the very end, they use this either for a journal or a summary project. So for example, here in this example, there's the introduction. You set up the introduction. You can have the students set their own goals here. You know, they can set their goals, multiple goals. They can set another one up if they wish, which is nice. And then here, they just click on here to get all the prompts. So here, describe your center's technology. So this is about a technology course. They would have to do that. Some of you will recognize this. And then technology at my center. For example, here there's a prompt here for them to write something. But in here, you can provide hints or prompts here that they can choose from or learn from to provide you a better answer. And this is just like the first week reflection, my challenges through a course, my successes. So there's more information here. So basically what they're doing here is they're writing a journal. And here you can see that you set the number of characters, that you can limit them if you wish. And here they have a course summary statement. So basically you're guiding them through all of this writing. This could happen throughout your course, or it could happen in one day or 1 week. And then the goals that they set up here, if you click on the goals assessment, I want to learn how to play piano. Then they can rate here. Oh, no, I didn't learn how to play piano. I sort of did, or I learned it very well. And that will be reported out. And then here, export your thoughts. So basically all of the work that they've just done, they can click on create document. And here it is. Okay. They can submit it and export it. Okay. And then the best way to do it for them is to do both. But you'll discover how you want to do that yourself. Okay. So the documentation tool works really well in H5P and Moodle, which is Avenue. And the other example I have down here is, oh, pardon me, I should go back. This is an example of an exported document, and it comes out like this, like in Microsoft Word format. Okay, and this is just nonsense text that I pushed out. So it does work. Another example that may be more useful to some of you is something simple, just like a task like this. The students read the prompt, and then they just answer questions. And they just answer the questions and then export your work. And then instead of saying export or whatever, if they just go, I'm finished, and then they're finished. It is, Elizabeth, it is much, for my limited experience, it's better to have them submit it. And, but I think it's a good practice to have them export it and then paste it into Microsoft Word. But you're going to have to walk through this yourself with your students. Sorry. Okie dokie. Okay, are there any more questions on the documentation tool? Oh, boy, you know, there's some limitation. Okay, the question is, can you make the instruction text larger for beginners? Okay, let me just do this really quickly. The heading you can't. The description you can. So there are certain parts of this that you can change and make larger, yes. So that's the answer. Okay, good question, Elizabeth. Good question. All right, so that's the documentation tool. Okay, Elaine, that's fantastic news to know that you've actually used it with students. I'm really, really happy. I'm curious to see how it's received by the Avenue community myself. And we can talk about Cornell notes. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you the how-to first. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Cornell notes. It's usually used by college students or high school students or university students. And what they do is they react to some sort of media or live lecture or something. And if you see in the diagram here in the how-to document, essentially what on this activity, the media is a video. So essentially what happens here is with the students, this can be the first screen if you want them to view the media first and then take notes, which is a good practice. And it looks this, then if they hit the toggle up here, which you can toggle on easily in the behaviors, this appears. And then they can replay the media and then make their notes. Now here, this really doesn't lend itself well to mobile devices. It will responsively move down, but they will have to do up and down a bit. So it's a bit of a challenge. And so they could have this going up and down the screen. So it's not a perfect tool, but maybe I think in the context of what's happening now with blended learning and stuff, you might want to do this. If you're going to use Cornell Notes, probably at this point with Avenue, you might want to do it on paper or have the students do it on paper, because there's no save or copy buttons if you use the Cornell Notes on Avenue or any Moodle instance. The Moodle plugin hasn't caught up yet, but if you have an account on h5p.com, it will work. It will actually work. So I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at the blended learning example. If you've had a chance to look at this. So you can toggle here, full media, to notes. And you notice that you see here, that here, the students would just type over top of here. Something like that. And then they would do that. But here on, there are no buttons. So there's no way except for them to copy and paste out of here, which is difficult. So I would sort of, I'm just trying to be here to warn you sort of off of Cornell Notes. Any comments on that? Cornell Notes within the Avenue system.
John,
Yeah, they could do a screenshot, Michelle, but I'm not sure if that'd be fun for you. Elizabeth.
yes, if you click those arrows, would that help people on cell phones?
Click what arrows?
On the top right-hand corner, I noticed some arrows.
Oh, yeah. That makes it full screen, yeah. But then they still have to do a lot of this, you know?
Yeah,
Filling the screen, I agree. That's one option for sure. So the last fun thing we have is something called structure strips. With structure strips, great idea. I'm just going to click on the example. And in this example, the students are prompted to write a comparison, contrast, point-by-point essay for a topic. And here is the twist. So that's cool. But the way you set this up, if you keep it simple, it will work better for you. So here you have, in this area, you write your thesis statement to set whatever the instruction is. And you start writing here. Okay, so I type in 20 characters, say, okay? The weird thing is that this is made by programmers, not English teachers or language teachers, and they're thinking mathematically. So they're thinking that you as a teacher want a proportion in each of these. So you want, this is 1, a ratio of 1, whatever you put into the thesis statement. And here, when I made this one, I made it to 6. So I'm going to do that 6 times. And that's how this tool works. The tool works really well, except for rejecting students' work if they put too much or too little in these boxes, which to me makes no sense at all. Okay, so imagine that the students put this data in. Your instructions are here. Okay, now look at the help. The help in each of these. Okay, you can type that in. And then in here, this help, it says, ensure it's 6 times as long as the thesis statement. So it's kind of weird. You just want the students to write and flow. But the hard part about this tool is it does work, but then you have to check. And you see down here, it says your section 2 is too short. You need at least 8 more characters. Section 3, you need at least 8 more characters. And your conclusion is too long. So as teachers, you don't really want to have the students restricted by numerical formula. That's why I think this one is still an immature product, even though it's tantalizing in a way. So they can retry. Okay, and then that they can, like here, I'll take that advice there. And I can't remember if it was too much or too little. Yeah, whatever. And then I'll check again. And this is what I found when I was trying this out. I kept on having to wrestle with this just so I could get a submission. It wouldn't even, okay, well, you can copy it. Okay, you can copy it. And I guess that's really what you want to do in the end. So you can use it, but these, these messages will definitely confuse your students. Excuse me. I have a structure strip how-to. I'm still editing it. I just want to show you some of the features in here. For each box, so the first box here, which I had with the thesis statement, the weight is 1. So the first box is always, the smallest one is always weight 1. You change the background color to let it stand out amongst the others. So the meaty paragraph, I said, is 6 times the ratio of paragraph 1. And then you add sections. For each section, you do the same thing. Here you have enable retry. There's a Slack feature here, and you can go from 1 to 50, I believe. 50% of what you think 1 to 6 would be. So you could actually subtract or have 30% more. And then it gets, you know, if you set the text length, minimum and maximum, that's the whole text itself. If you start playing with that, it really throws off the ratios as well. There's something really nice here called feedback mode on request or as you're typing. So I would say for students in Link, as they're typing, not on request. On request means they click the button. So you want it to happen as they're working through it. Anyway, so it's a bit of a nightmare, although it does allow you to put a video. audio or an image with it as well. As I showed you, there's help. And if you're doing, if you choose the while typing method, the students will see these kinds of results as they're going through. If you choose the other method on request, you see the results at the bottom. Nevertheless, you as a teacher can click on copy. They can click on copy, paste it into a Word document, and submit it to you. So it's kind of immature for Avenue at the moment. Anyway, it's good to know that they're building things like this. So are there any questions?
Hi, John.
Hi.
Since this is still being developed, is it possible to ask for restrictions to be removed for Avenue?
Sorry, you want restrictions?
The
What
strip
restrictions?
structure, you said is not completed yet because there's no save or copy.
Oh, this is H5P and Moodle working together. This is beyond Avenue. Yeah, and I've been on with the folks on the chats and the forums, and I think this is a good start. And sooner or later, these toys get a little bit better. But I'm just warning you that it looks great. Sometimes things that look great don't always work out for you.
Mm. So they don't ask you for feedback when you like.
Well, I'm on the community, but
Mm.
you've got to imagine that there's millions of people in the community. So basically how things get done at H5P is you go to them, you say, our institution needs this, and customize. They'll do it on h5p.com first, and they'll get it right for their clients. You know, they'll make it for their clients. Stuff that comes from the public, the benevolent stuff, just comes.
Okay,
But it
thank
does
you.
cost money. Thanks. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So are we finished? Is that the last question? So I will leave this course open, and I will unhide all of the other sections if you want to use it for 6 months or so. And then I have to clear out my participants list. You're welcome, Michelle. Thank you, everybody, for coming on this Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning, I guess, in BC. Thank you, everybody. Okay, I'm going to try to splice the two sections of this into one video, and it'll be available. But I think what you'll get more by just going on and looking at the examples and using the example, taking the examples, and then following the how-to files. Okay. Thanks, everyone.